All right, I'll call the budget hearing to order.
Okay, the notice that went in the paper. Town of Morris, notice of public hearing on preliminary budget. Notice is hereby given that the preliminary budget for the town of Morris for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2013 has been completed and filed in the office of the town clerk at the municipal building, where it and the exemption impact report are available for inspection by any interested persons at the regular office hours of Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Further notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of Morris will meet and review said preliminary budget and hold a public hearing thereon at the townhouse at 7 p.m. on the 13th of November 2012, and that at such hearing any person may be heard in favor or against any item or items therein contained. Pursuant to section 108 of the town law, the proposed salaries of the following town officers are hereby specified as follows. Town supervisor, $13,215. Town councilman, $1,200 each, a total of $4,800. Town clerk tax collector, $13,750. Sorry about that. Highway superintendent, $47,957. Town court justice, $10,000 even. By order of the Morris Town Board, Linda Ewing, town clerk collector.
Are there any comments from the public regarding the budget? The only change is the real property tax in the general fund.
I was just looking at that,
When I did the calculations for the tax cap, I had $5,000 left over from last year, and factoring in the retirement increase gave me another 1,600. So I reduced the amount of the unexpended balance
okay.
by that amount. So if you look at the summary, yeah. The original one the original amount that I was going to use was $92,796, and by using that $6,000, I reduced the amount that we had to use out of the unexpended balance down to $86,627.
So you got the definitive part.
And then the townwide and part-town highways, if you put in the figures you need to put in there to make it stay within the 2%.
Well, we're within the guidelines of the tax cap. The estimation on the 2014 projection is $40,546. of what we're gonna pay in 2002. And that's what allows the reduction
Right.
of,
So the 2%
The
is gonna
tax
be a little bit
rate,
more, right? I can remember, how many years ago was it, Jacob? 10, was it, when you were still on, were you, when we didn't have to pay anything? Were you a supervisor then, or did you always have to pay something?
there was always like a minimal.
And then one time, there was nothing, virtually nothing we
Yeah,
paid.
I mean, there were a couple of years, there was, I mean, then the interest rates were and everything else.
Yeah, with everything, and investments and everything else, now it's up to 40 grand a year.
Too many state retirees.
I don't think it's that kind, I don't think they're paying out any more than they did, I think it's the,
Yeah, that's what that, no.
earned income coming in, they just aren't earning the money.
I mean, I don't know, I heard teacher retirement was 40% increase.
The 40%.
Is that right?
Yeah. Because their investments did so poorly and so much, in order.
And that's back to the school district, you said?
Yeah.
Which school district is it?
That's gonna be across the state.
Wow. So big jump, huh?
And with a 2% cap.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
But they're allowed more when the retirement comes in.
But it's still.
That's above. Right.
That is, it's a big chunk of change.
So Pete, as you went along from what our workshop was there any tweaks that had to be done?
Nope, everything else is the same.
I'll tell you one thing we took a hit on is the justice score. We used to be running up there pretty good, and for the change and everything else, the income was only used to be there.
No. But that, you know,
Yeah.
that's a variable that you have no control over.
No, absolutely none. That's what makes it hard.
The tax base, there's almost nothing to speak of. There's, townwide, there's $27,000 increase.
How much, Pete?
207.
Now, will they have more next year? Because a lot of them go on in February. Am I right on that? Isn't it February when a lot of them are put on for the assessment roll for the coming year?
March 1st.
March.
Okay, I know February they send the letters out to everybody.
Yeah, by March 1st,
Because
it's fine.
there's gotta be, I mean, I know my new building's not on. And there's 2 new houses in South Berlin, right? And the 3rd one not in the process. Of course, that won't get it this year because that'll get a partial on it.
There's been some additions put on
Yeah.
the houses. It's rather, the other end of it is taken care of.
Just, of course, now we lost the house, tore down up here. If you went off this roll. Yeah. Seems like every year it ought to creep up a little bit, it doesn't know much, 100,000. First we're 50%, so it's 202, right? Or
We're 53.
Yeah.
Then we've been 53 for the
Yeah.
past 3, 4 years.
Right, but I'm saying, it's gotta be 200,000, if it's 100,000, it's gotta be 200 true value in order to come up with that figure.
That would get you far though.
Huh?
200 doesn't get you far.
No, it doesn't, we're one home, really. That's, having a tough time.
Dave, got any questions or? That cover sheet is kind of the one that gives you the overall picture. shows the appropriations is what we anticipate spending. And then the next column is what we figure we'll get in as far as revenue.
I see that.
And then we have unspent monies, at the end of the year. And the next column is what I'm using to reduce what we have to, the difference between the revenues coming in from other than property tax. And then the final thing is, the property tax.
Right.
And that's what the bottom line, and that's what the state now has limited everybody with.
Can we ask questions on this? Since it's
Sure.
not a public hearing? What, the fire protection contracts, can you explain that a little bit for the three? There's no monies in there for any fire protection contracts.
That,
Is that,
what they do.
Which town?
there's the three.
The fire departments have their own budget. They submit to me the amount that they need to tax for.
Okay, so that comes strictly through the fire department?
Yes. The only one that's different is the Gilbertsville Fire Department, which what we contract with them. So we pay a flat fee.
3-year contract, right? So it has.
We've got a 5-year
5
contract.
years. I tell you, we did a lot of research on that once. In Holland, here, we could do it so much cheaper, and they got it all done, figured it all out, what they had to have, and it was just about double for Morris to run over there across the mountain, spending money, than it was in Butternut to go up there, what they were doing, even with their 3%.
Just Maple Grove.
Yeah, that Maple Grove district is in Tom Lawrence. And Gilbertsville's got an all flat run up there, and here they gotta go over the hill.
Is the street lighting district, South New Berlin, is that right through the main part of the village, or is the street
It's
lighting district
in South New Berlin.
in South New Berlin?
Yeah,
Is that
it goes down to the bridge,
down to the bridge?
down to the bridge.
Okay,
It's strictly in the town of Morris.
Yeah.
okay, I wondered how.
Same as the fire district, strictly town of Morris. It's got nothing to
Do with South New Berlin, right, itself.
Once you cross the bridge, it's Shenango County, town of Berlin.
Okay.
I think, Pete, got as about as trimmed as close as you can trim it.
Probably should schedule it for 7:30. I don't know why it's at 7 o'clock.
You got one.
It's, I don't know if there's much else,
There's not much,
there's no place else you can get
there's
it,
not
but
much you can,
you gotta raise a certain amount for just to take care of your payroll, fuel and insurance costs, and not changing anything else.
So where are you expecting, Pete, to have that increase come to help cover the budget needs? quite a bit of money there if we're looking at the right things. The subtotal where it says amount to be raised by taxes is $583,000. Am I reading that correctly? Will that be taxed on individual residents, citizens, or how does that?
It's your regular town and county taxes that you pay in January.
Same as it's always been.
Like it is usually. And so it's how much of an increase? Per assessed household or whatever, isn't there a percentage that it would be
It
set?
depends on the assessed value of the home. If you look at the tax rate per thousand, it gives you what it would be per thousand,
Right,
like 3.7905 per thousand
okay,
for general, and then 3.6546 for townwide highway, and 3.1423 for outside the village.
So you don't pay any on your taxes for the park town. That's not included in any of your taxes.
okay, tell me
And-
where I'm looking, Royce, what page am I supposed to?
Town funds,
Yeah,
summary sheet. You start right on the top, general, townwide.
general part town.
That's the
townwide.
general fund. It pays the bills here, the heat at the municipal building, insurances. They're talking $379 per thousand.
Okay,
Now, that's considering the 2% plus the extras that they do for the state retirement and stuff that they're allowed. Then, general part town, there's no money be raised. Then, highway part town, or townwide, that's all of us. Snow plow and some other things, town barns.
uh-huh,
That is $3.65 per thousand.
mm-hmm,
And then highway part town, which you do not pay because you live in incorporated village.
okay,
But in lieu of that, you pay a village tax.
right, exactly,
The people outside of the town do not pay the village tax, but have to pay this tax.
okay. And how does that compare, the village compare with?
Village is more
part-time?
than that.
Okay,
But they've got other services, garbage and stuff that they don't have in the town. I mean, we have the transfer station, but all of us benefit from that. That's all taken into consideration in the general fund.
okay.
You don't have what it was last year for though.
That's what I was just looking for to compare the. So this is up above. 10,000.
Last year, general fund was 3.6265. Townwide highway was 3.5933. Highway part-town was 3.0951.
5 cents.
So it's up just a few pennies.
Yeah.
Basically not a big increase. Do you have any extra copies of the papers, the figures that you've got for the? Just one? Okay.
Do you want
Can,
copies of the budget?
yeah, can I get that tomorrow if you don't have it now?
No,
With the-
have it now.
We're good here.
Okay, I'll wait here. Wait.
Tomorrow will be too late.
Tomorrow will be too late.
Budget will be that.
It'll be taken care
It'll
of,
be
by
done.
then, right? This is just,
It's not like school budget, you can't vote on it.
right, once you've gone over it, then you put it into place
It will be voted on tonight.
tonight. Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Well,
Well, we got a few minutes.
did you know?
We're working on the budget. We've got everything here. I think we're off board is all satisfied with it. but just maybe Jonathan could go over his budgetary plans for next year for us. You got a few ideas you were thinking of doing within your budget?
Well, we're probably looking at another 65,000 for sealing another 20% of the paved roads. But that we can, all of that can go under CHIPS with their 5 years. 5 years on resurfacing now instead of 10. I think we have 120 in CHIPS right now. And
You use some of the truck already.
while we haven't yet.
Yeah, we're going to, right?
Yeah. We're slated for 93 more when the state budget goes through, if they continue doing that. It'd be awful handy to have a 3-sided pole barn down at the transfer station. It's on my wish list. With a couple of outlets in it and a street light, and keep our wheel loader right there. All our other material piles are over there. We had the outlet for a block heater, kept the wheel loader right at the transfer station. We could move our, over time, we could move our sand piles onto our own property instead of having the one that we have between our buildings, which is about 3,000 yards, and the one that we have down at the fairgrounds, which is probably 10 or 12,000 yards.
Is there raw material there?
But the problem with the fairgrounds one is it's on soft ground, so you can't just go down there and use that whenever you want. You're gonna make a big mess. You gotta wait for the ground to freeze and then you can use it. And we don't know who we're gonna be dealing with in the future with the fair board.
Well, that's all set.
Well, it's set for
This
the
year.
immediate future, but
Yeah.
who knows, a couple of years from now,
Yeah,
what's
right.
gonna go on.
Absolutely.
And our trucks will all be 10-wheelers by then. So we can make our rounds without coming back and reloading. Whereas the 6-wheelers, we could only do half a route and then come back, load up again. So having it a little distance away is helpful. And, it's gonna make it better on the village streets. One of those big trucks with chains down, loading them up and heading out. It'll save a little on traffic in the village, but it's not a crucial, necessary thing, but I thought it'd be a handy thing to look into. I had an electrician give me an approximation of somewhere in the 15,000 neighborhood on our electric.
Rewire the whole town.
And he said we could do it in stages, and we wouldn't have to do it all at once. Just address the worst of it first, and over time pick away at it. He suggested we stay 3-phase there, even though all we have is one welder now that requires 3-phase. We don't know what we're going to run into in the future. Instead of paying to drop back and then paying again to go back, we might as well just stick with 3-phase as long as we're. But it's all cigar fuses, and it's wiring from when that was part of the Lynn plant. So that'd be something that we should probably look at. As it stands right now, all our equipment is working like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Might not tomorrow, but tonight it is. So, and some of it's getting old.
It doesn't matter if it can be new.
Hmm?
So it doesn't matter if it can be new.
Right,
You
right.
use it
John's already done one thing, from wherever it is, he's put some in the trucks, got them collected on the back, but he's gotta get them, the gussets and stuff put on them. I told him, if he wanted to, he could come over and borrow my compressor and sandblast him, blast the boxes off on the red can.
We're addressing those, like I said, we got our roof on, and that's
That is a very big thing, isn't it?
Looks good.
the two, thank you, the two buildings, one side is sided with steel, the other three sides are not, so maybe if we had a couple bucks someday, we could knock off another side or two of one of the buildings. The most expensive side is done on both buildings. We got two short gable ends, and then the front of our main building is all overhead doors, so as far as material goes, the worst is behind us as far as that goes.
We're working on them break.
Yeah. So we're trying to make it nice. We don't have any equipment planned for this year. The big thing on the schedule is the ceiling. The truck was delivered to Mac, and that's been up for 2 weeks now in Watertown, getting equipped with plowing equipment. They said they needed about 3 weeks, so anything like the schedule, any time now, we should have the new truck in. We're just trying to nurse along what we have as best we can.
Sounds like, rub along, you have a pretty good heat getting the road back.
That coal patch was nice. It'd be nice to come next spring to get another big pile of coal patch like we had. Trying to keep these paved roads glued together until we get around to addressing.
You gotta put something in before you seal them, you just can't seal over potholes. Gotta dump them.
Yeah, that makes it nice to have it right on hand, and when we want it, we just step out our door, we got a pile of it. We have no problems using it up. This year was 100 ton. What we ordered, it ended up being about 117 tons, so that put us about $45 a ton. That's pretty darn good. You double that to go pick it up.
Yeah, I'm surprised you got that cheap, I really was.
Yeah, that was soup coat, was set right up in Pittsfield.
That wasn't so cold, wasn't that dusty, so that's.
Vessel. They set up in Pittsfield's yard, and us, Pittsfield, and Columbus, I think, all had a pile of it made. And so we all clubbed together on the equipment, rental, and the manpower. And we told them we'd help them when it comes time to make it. And Pittsfield called us up and said it was all done, come get it when we want it. So it worked out really well. Everything we're planning is pretty small, except for the ceiling.
Someday we're gonna have to budget something, I can't believe it. When I was down there the one day, when you wanted to see the stuff, I stopped over to see the barn there, and we looked at those new doors. When I started there in John Myers, but the two on the right wasn't, it was maybe 15 years ago, 20 years ago at the most, we put those two new overhead doors, and they're not the ones layover, but the ones just to the right of the door. Them suckers are all rotted right out, those aluminum doors on the bottom, that whole bottom panel. It's rotted right out on them suckers. I think
Water
so.
doesn't drain away.
They're in
No,
standing
I
water,
think,
and they're in standing water next to the salt bin.
and you're gonna work at something out this next summer to cut that towards the ditch, though, right, so the drains away from there?
Yeah, We don't need a paved parking lot. We need the water to get away from both buildings. So I'd like to peel the blacktop off of there, or stone oil, whatever it is, and
Put it on the chain.
divert the water away from the buildings. Today, we had water coming under the doors, running across the floor, and it's, we have radiant heat, so we run that cold water right over our heat source. The best thing we do is keep the damn water out of there. It's got, instead of heating it on its way to the drain, you know. I think you told me it was all right to do that. I
Yeah,
just haven't got to it.
last time we talked about it. When that gets done, we gotta do something with the two doors.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, not just the bottom panel, I think, we don't have to replace the whole door, right?
No. We could probably patch up what's there too, if we, maybe.
Yeah, make it decent, it can't just be carbon job.
Well,
That's what happened to your sluice plates, and there you go.
I was wrong. You're right, I was wrong. But we're trying to address the problems with our buildings. They're just old. So, just trying to milk them along as we can. Actually replaced broken block on the main building. Lukey's building, that the driveway is about 2 feet above the floor. So, and while your property and the town property are in a bowl down there, the streets are built up,
Yeah, put it in the hole.
and the box culvert by us, water doesn't go out of it. We need to address that, get the water out of there, get the water away from the buildings and get it off both of our properties. And I think it's going to require running a new daylight pipe over to the spillway from the water wheel. I think there's problems in there, something's ceramic is broke, and where the ends are buried in the spillway or something, but the water doesn't drain out of the big rain we had here, August or September, we had a pretty big thunderstorm, and we had a grate off one of our box culverts that was out on the parking lot. Much water was in it, floated the grate off, and it took weeks for that to, when the level goes down, it's not draining.
The one like the corner
Right in the middle of the parking lot.
of 11
Yeah.
is the one by the street.
No, they're all tied together.
You know,
One-
tight and that come
none of
down
them
to the
drain.
corner down there in the corner where Lukey's building, and then they're supposed to go into that, what he said in
Yeah,
the.
runs out into the.
But I think, see, there's one in the middle of the parking lot, there's one about where the guys park, and then there's one on the corner. I think they get progressively higher. I think the one in the middle of our parking lot is the lowest one of the three, and which is problematic too. And then they put the gutters and downspouts on our buildings, on the main building, and put a big barrel at the bottom of every downspout, but they don't go anywhere. It's just catches water. So as soon as they fill up, water runs out of the barrel onto the parking lot and right back under the door.
Well, it can't go anywhere because you got 4 foot of clay. We just dug a dry well over behind us
But
there.
the thing is, if you're gonna look at digging all that up anyway, I don't know how, like the drain that's inside the garage, is that feasible to do
You tie it in.
on the outside?
You see, it was supposed to tie in anyway out to the street there at one point, but I don't think it ever got that far, did it?
but I mean, the same style system. The only thing I'm thinking, would that plug up during the winter with snow and
Yeah.
garden?
Well, that's the open ditch you're talking about with the grate on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
during the summer it worked great, and run it, and you're gonna redo the drains out to the street anyway.
Right.
If you redo that, you could get that. You've got plenty of pitch. Once you get a ditch established, you get down to the corner, if you put some catch basins in, you could get the pitch to come out of there, but.
We pitch everything into that corner, then we're straight uphill to our daylight's a problem.
Right.
It's gonna have to go across.
You
No-
need an
no
inch and a
stream.
half to 10 foot on dirt to make water run. Tennis court flat on blacktops, an inch to 10 foot.
We're gonna have to
You
go,
gotta have that inch and a half.
we're gonna have to go all the way to the spillway.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna have to start the spillway and come back, see what kind of level, which we haven't
But
shot.
what is it on the street in between Lufky's building and my building? If you swaled it and went that way,
Right up towards the corner,
well, right between the two buildings, and then we dropped right on the edge of my property or something over across the road, someplace there, we dropped
back to the spillway.
yeah, and went right into the spillway where we're not going into the covered ditch, we're going right into the open spillway.
Right.
You might drop it out of there easier, I know, I haven't ever shot that street out there.
No, we haven't shot it either. We shot our property, but we haven't shot across the street.
Whether you get dropping out there to go or not, I mean, you don't,
Yeah.
when you're running water, you don't need too much of a drop.
No,
In something like that, you need less drop, you go on top of the ground.
I'm sure it's all right at one time, just something to swerve to.
When I worked in the village, we
Yeah.
used to have it and work.
You know where the daylight pipe is supposed to be? Do you remember?
I know we were down under there at one point, we went up in the closed spillway, to hit up in there someplace right where it was, you know.
Really? It's up the,
It's
It's up the tube,
corner a little
heading
bit,
towards the water road.
Someplace right up in there a little bit. I'm quite sure, not a lot, but kind of like run across the road, 'cause that sluice went all the way across the road, that spillway, to the fairground site.
we,
Otherwise, the tractor plant being here, and it ran across the, someplace over there is where it had.
this summer when there was 3-4 weeks with no rain, or 5 weeks or however long it was, we had a tank of water on it. We dumped a tank of water and couldn't find any, it never got wet over the spillway. We dropped it in that box culvert, never went anywhere. So, that's something,
That's random, here is it?
it's plastic where you can see, but I don't know how far it goes.
I was wondering, because Buddy had it done. J&B did a road.
Sent us hydro snake.
Yeah. I said that worked out better than, that it has to be easy pipe to begin with.
Right. I don't know I don't know how old the pipe, I've talked to him about it, and I don't, I have to find out if he knows what's under there, or how long it's been in there, or what. Something's happened someplace, and it doesn't leave anymore. Which is, like I said, only part of the problem. The other problem is getting the water into those boxes to get it out of there. And our parking lot has ended up higher than our garage floors. Which is,
Not good.
I think you have some extra blacktop left, you can throw it in the
So
parking
they
lot.
stuck built that, and they didn't cut it down, and they put it on there. Got above the door, which is normal. See, when that comes across, this being Lucas building, street being here, there's a fairgrounds, and one up here, there's a sluice, one of the culverts is right in there someplace. Well, right here, I dug from there all the way into the fairgrounds, about 6 foot deep, put a new water main in there back in the 80s. And there was not any, we never crossed that sluice going there. So that's why I'm saying I think it's only just a guess, because if we had nothing, any sign of any sluice pipe right there, and it was right off that corner. You'll see the bell box right in that corner.
It could run into a 55-gallon drum. Who knows?
I got it with that spillway, and that was a pretty big spillway at the time.
Well, the spill, yeah, but you know, I don't, those box culverts look newer than 1980, sure, but
Well, I'm sure they
Who knows?
changed them.
who knows what's happened on the other side of the road.
But that's what I'm saying, but if it does, I think it runs this, I wouldn't be surprised under the road in the fairground.
Halfway across the road,
I wouldn't be a bit surprised.
so that's gonna be problematic.
Get some of my kids or somebody run up there and see where it comes in.
That paint, they didn't hold for us,
They didn't?
no. Pete Bridge is open, and we had the county's bridge closed signs, that is like ours. And, when we took them back, I think Dave, I said, they were holding 50 gallons of paint for us. And they went down to pick it up, I said,
Yeah, if they want, you better be there.
so, that was the next day.
Yeah, well, I know.
24 hours from when you told me we had a truck up there and they'd already given it away. So,
There's about 2 or 3 of them working on it. But they called us first and got there and says there's no white paint. Because we put in for the year before, we put in like right now for next year.
Yeah.
There's
I
no-
don't understand why they didn't do white.
They do have, well, at first they
Not
said,
this year, they did.
yes, they did.
Did they?
I can show you 25 gallons of it, more than that, not 10 buckets, 50 gallons of it. But we went off, they called, said, we don't have any white. And I said, you got any cream? Yeah, well, that worked, fine. Okay, we come up there, well, we got there, the truck pulled right in from Goldman's and had a load of white right on it. And that was the second load, the first day they were giving it away. So we came back with,
never hit the ground, did it?
no
Straight
sir,
from their
right
truck
from
to your
one truck right
truck.
there. And, geez, we go by 100 gallons of paint a year down there. Painting them center pulls and side pulls 5 gallon buckets.
That's the hazardous waste,
Huh?
from the hazardous waste collection.
From the recycled paint, yeah. They take it to Goldman's, Goldman's redoes it all. You know, I don't care if the weights don't match just exactly, because you got a center pull here, another, or a side pull now, and 10 foot apart. As long as they're clean and bright, I don't care. What do you want, white?
Wow,
Over the building?
yeah, we're not too fussy, you know. We're tending to turn things brown down there at the moment. They had a brown roof on the main building, so we put a brown roof on the auction house.
Did they make it as exterior or is it interior, exterior both?
I don't know. Gee, I've used them the last 3 or 4 years on the side pulls and center pulls, but they're kind of always sitting under a tent or sitting in the shed, so they really don't get an awful lot of water.
But we could use it inside as well, you know, interior we could use too. Everything's got smoke and dirt on it in that building. And we could put it on in short order, spray it.
Just shouldn't take what those were.
I mean, yeah.
May I ask one more question about the highway budget?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that okay, Jennifer? What is the category other unclassified incorporated?
Excuse me?
The category DB 2770, other unclassified Inc., it's gone up $1,300. It's on the highway page on it, first, the tentative budget page.
That general?
It's under income.
No,
Huh?
Were you looking at income or?
I'm looking at other income, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, actually there's two of
Or at
them.
the
There's
top.
a DA 2770 and the DB 2770.
There's one down
It's both the same figures, 4,300 for this year's budget as compared to 3,000 last year.
Yeah, I believe that's medical insurance withholdings.
Is that what that is, medical insurance?
that's why you spend so much time on stuff.
Fair.
Fair? We lived with Phil's, I think we handled those anyway.
First page.
Phil's was like that.
DB.
But a whole lot enough to, wasn't for us, he paid the dollar.
Online and part-time.
Your per-time their signature.
Going to be able to do it before we do it again.
Yeah, he starts.
Did you answer my question?
How you doing? Right on board.
He did.
Yeah, he starts immediately.
That he thought that medical insurance
Yeah.
would
But he starts
that's
immediately.
going to
I might do that rest week, I might do it rest week.
for both categories, town and for all medical
It's
insurance.
just like Earl. over
For the part-time.
Must have snowed about the time you guys went to work this morning.
It was snowing when I got up here.
I'll
second move the public hearing be adjourned.
Pardon me?
I'm seconding the motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Oh, did somebody make a motion?
Yes, I did.
Oh, sorry, Jacob, we didn't hear you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing adjourned.